Hey, welcome back to Bible and Blues, and today we're going to talk about Holy Saturday. So, what is Holy Saturday? We're going to get into that in a minute, and I also have a new project idea that I'm kind of thinking about, and I want to run it by you, get your input on this, because if without you, there's not a lot of purpose for me doing this. So, I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, hey, I'm Cameron, your host. Welcome back to Bible and Blues. Today we're going to talk about Holy Saturday. Holy Saturday is the day of waiting, is the day between Jesus being laid in, being on the cross, being laid in the tomb, and and then Easter itself, which is Resurrection Day. When He has risen. He has risen indeed. Um, so, if you like this kind of stuff, you know what? I really love talking to you guys about this stuff. And please subscribe. Please subscribe and hit that little bell notification if you're on YouTube. If you're on VidMe, follow me, upvote my stuff here, and leave a comment down below. Whatever you're doing as you watch this. I mean, if something touches you, if a question hits your head, especially during the live. Leave a question, and if I'm live, I will answer the question that as I can. If not, I do pay attention. I do respond to comments, in my section there. So so what we have is I'm going to read out of Matthew, again Matthew 27, and this is the burial of Jesus. Matthew 27 starts at verse 57. As evening approached, there came a rich man from Arimathea, named Joseph, who had himself become a disciple of Jesus. Going to Pilate, he asked for Jesus' body, and Pilate ordered it to be given to him. Joseph took the body, wrapped it in clean linen cloth, and placed it in his own new tomb that he had cut out of the rock. He rolled a big stone in front of the entrance to the tomb and went away. Mary Magdalene and the other Mary were sitting opposite the tomb. Interesting note there is we really don't know who the other Mary was supposed to be. Was it Mary's mother? There was Mary. There was another Mary there that was a wife of. Gosh, I can't remember now. And I heard it last night. So in Mark, it is read this way. It was preparation day, that is, the day before the Sabbath. So as evening approached, Joseph of Arimathea, I never pronounced that stuff right, a prominent member of the council, who was himself waiting for the kingdom of God, went boldly to Pilate and asked for Jesus' body. Pilate was surprised to hear that he was already dead. Summoning the centurion, he asked if Jesus had already died. When he learned from the centurion that it was so, he gave the body to Joseph. So Joseph brought some linen cloth, took the body down, wrapped it in linen, and placed it in a tomb cut out of rock. Then he rolled the stone against the entrance of the tomb. Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of Joseph, saw where he was laid. Joseph, I believe, was a brother of Jesus in this. So we get a little more detail out of it in Luke. And Luke was a doctor, so he was very detail oriented. And no, that was Mark. Sorry, my bad. In Luke, now there was a man named Joseph, a member of the council, a good and upright man who had not consented to their decision and action. He came from the Judean town of Arimathea, and he was waiting for the kingdom of God. Going to Pilate, he asked for Jesus' body. Then he took it down, wrapped it in a linen cloth, and placed it in the tomb cut in the rock, one which no one had yet been laid. It was preparation day, and the Sabbath was about to begin. The women who had come with Jesus from Galilee followed Joseph and saw the tomb and how his body was laid in it. Then they went home and prepared spices and perfumes, but they rested on the Sabbath in obedience to the commandments. Okay, very consistent in this story. In John, it's actually pretty easy to find all this stuff in the Bible because it's the last little bit of each one. So now we're gonna have a lot more to do tomorrow, but in the burial of Jesus for John 19, verse 38. Later, Joseph of Arimathea asked Pilate for the body of Jesus. Now Joseph was a disciple of Jesus, but secretly because he feared the Jews. With Pilate's permission, he came and took the body away. He was accompanied by Nicodemus, the man who earlier had visited Jesus at night. Nicodemus brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 75 pounds. Taking Jesus' body, the two of them wrapped it with the spices and strips of linen. This was in accordance with Jewish burial customs. At the place where Jesus was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden a new tomb in which no one had ever been laid. Because it was the Jewish day of preparation, since the tomb was nearby, they laid Jesus there. Okay, so we as we go through these the four Gospels, we pick out different things that are additions. They're not confrontational with each other at all, but they do add to the story, each one from a different perspective. In John, we find out that Nicodemus was there as well. Okay, and we find out that Joseph of Arimathea was. We hear it actually. I think Matthew is the only one that doesn't say that Joseph was a member of the council. The council was the ones who wanted Jesus gone, but we find out in another that he voted against it. He was against doing this, and he was awaiting the kingdom of God, which several times we hear that he was a follower of Jesus. He was a disciple of Jesus, but he had to be in secret because he was in the council. Okay, it just strikes me as I think about this. How often are we in our jobs? Are we kind of silent about things because we're not in a situation where we can speak openly about our faith? Okay, and so he was in that situation. He was a follower. He was a disciple, but because of what he did in his position of power, and he feared the council of Jews, he knew that if they knew that he was a disciple of Jesus, he would have been ousted. He would not have been there at all, and so that's an important aspect. And I can think of anybody who's a public school teacher has to be careful about their faith. They can't really talk about it. They certainly can't talk about it to the students. And as a matter of fact, I've heard of people getting uptight about just emails that are actually personal in nature. Okay, maybe you send out joke emails to people, and if there's a tagline, I heard about one person who had a tagline about her faith. And there was a teacher that just got irate about it. I mean, she didn't get in trouble in the end, but it was just this is work email, and so this is the kind of situation that Joseph was in. Okay, and we can find ourselves in that situation as well today, in our hypersensitive society that we're in, and it makes you think that maybe the hypersensitive society we're in today is similar to the hypersensitive society that Joseph of Arimathea was in. Okay, what else do we know? We know Nicodemus, because of John, we hear that Nicodemus brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 75 pounds. Okay, now I'm not particularly familiar with Jewish burial customs, and if you are, just let me know if how this works out. But certainly Jewish burial customs of the time. This sounds like Jesus was laid to rest in a very rich manner. Joseph and Nicodemus really put themselves out for Jesus on this. I mean, 75 pounds of myrrh and aloes wouldn't be cheap in any society. Okay, and they used this in the linens, and they, taking Jesus' body, the two of them wrapped it with the spices in strips of linen. Okay, in strips of linen. Okay, and that's kind of a description we hear about a little bit here. Is that it was strips that went around the body, with spices. Okay, this is in accordance with Jewish burial customs, and certainly somebody that was crucified, who would have been a criminal, would not have received this kind of treatment typically. But he was laid to rest in a very honored way, and so at this point in time, it was that kind of a thing. So that's Holy Saturday. We reflect upon this. This is the time that Jesus went down to, descended to hell. Okay, He died. He descended into hell, and he spent time in hell. And we don't really know much about it. I mean, to them, it was really had to do with the place, the place where the dead went in general. That was their concept of what that was for the Jewish people, and that's who they were speaking to in the scriptures at the time. So, um, so anyway, do you have any thoughts on this? Do you have any comments about this idea of Holy Saturday of waiting, where Jesus was in the tomb, and his body was in the tomb, and this is a time where Jesus had descended into hell, and he was honored so greatly by Joseph and Nicodemus. So what else? What other ideas and thoughts come to your mind on that? Tell me. Leave a comment down below in the in the comment section. Whether you're on VidMe, whether you're in YouTube, or you're on Facebook, or whatnot, check it out and tell me what you think about this time of waiting. Does it mean anything to you? Because I come from a more secular family. Okay, my parents, who are in their 80s, still don't attend church. They attended church pretty regularly when I was a kid, but then at one point in time they just kind of stopped. And while they still have a level of belief in their hearts, I mean, we never really ones that really celebrated Easter, and so starting a celebration of Easter in my family has been a struggle for me. And you can ask my son. We really don't do much for Easter aside from going to church, But the Easter dinner concept and the Easter basket, I had a tough time grabbing onto that, just partially because of my upbringing. But the actual faith section of it, I seem to be able to hold on to better, which is the concept of Holy Saturday, of the time of waiting, and the fact that Jesus died on the cross for us, and that and what it really means to me, as a follower of Jesus. I want to comment about a possible project I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about a weekly family vlog, which I'm not too entirely certain how it's going to go about. I mean, we're not a real active family, and to me, this is kind of also an idea of getting us more active as a family. My wife is in a wheelchair. This is kind of the only way he's known. His mother is in a wheelchair. We're kind of sedentary. Since I took on the a job at my work that puts me in cubicle land, I certainly put on a bunch of pounds, and so more activity would be good. And we're in springtime right now. It's springtime. We're summer coming up, and I have some ideas of stuff I'd like to do. I'd love to be more active as a father and as a husband, and I think vlogging will help that. Just to kind of make me give me, it's like, I need to do something for the vlog. Let's go do something. So it sounds kind of petty, but it's true. It'll help that out a little bit. So what kind of things would you like to see in a family vlog like this? One of the things I've thought about doing also is I play a little bit of guitar, and one of the things I'm very bad about is actually learning an actual song. Okay, whether it's a rock song, classic rock, country song, worship song. I do some worship songs just in open chords for my small group. But my church group. But I mean, I'm thinking about actual songs where you learn riffs and you learn the solo and you learn the basic structure of the whole thing, so you could play it on at an open mic or something like that. What songs would you like to see me learn? And maybe I'll do something where start to finish I'm learning a song on my guitar, and you watch that progression maybe. So is there a song that you'd like for me to learn? Those are a couple of possibilities. I'm really interested in the family vlog, and I've been researching the kind of camera I want to use for that, because an out and about camera, I use a Logitech C920, which a Logitech C920 is attached by USB. It's great for sitting at the desk, but it's not an out and about thing. So I've been researching. It's like, what am I going to use? What am I going to start off with? Well, I figured out what I'm going to use. I'm going to use my phone. Yep. I'm going to use my phone. I'm not going to get a really special camera. I am going to get a better microphone. I've already ordered it. It is a microphone that that goes in, down here, plugs in right down here, and then I can, have a directional microphone right here and be talking and get better sound than what your phone provides. But the cameras on the phones today are really, really good, and I have cameras on both sides. So that's what I'm gonna start off with. And as I need more stuff, I'll pick up more stuff and adapters for it, stuff like that. There's lenses you can get for your phone, so you can get better lens quality. I mean, geez, this is like a 12 megapixel camera, and so why not work with that? All I have to do is work on how to put it onto the streaming sites and everything. It's not going to be able to live stream at this point in time. They want you to have 10,000 subscribers to be able to live stream with a mobile device. I certainly don't have that yet. So, on that note, share what's going on here. If you love what I'm doing here, share to your Facebook and your Twitter feed and get the attention out there so I can hit that mark, so I can get out there and be able to live stream. I really, really, really want VidMe to pick up live streaming. I think it'd be a lot of fun to do that with VidMe. I get so much more action from VidMe as far as engagement and people watching my stuff and commenting on it and upvoting it. So I know it's getting a lot of attention there, and that has to do with just the volume of stuff that happens on YouTube. It's harder to get noticed. So to get noticed, share what I have, share what I'm doing, and let people know that you like what I'm doing here. If you don't like what I'm doing, tell me why. I've got broad shoulders, okay? I can take it. If you don't like what's happening here, if you think there's something I can improve on, if you don't like my cadence, if you don't like my voice, if you don't like my hair, if you don't like my beard, you know what? I can take it. I'll ignore most of it. So anyway, you have a great day, and be sure to comment below and share what you got. Thanks a lot. God bless.